gon' be mad on vacation. Got to run around all these Jamaicans. Drop something.
I'ma hit this drink up like it's my last. Night up like it's my last. Fast up like it's my last. I'ma do it like I never had it at. Kill me.
I'm about to hit the club and dance like a
The grand total of how much me and Rico spent on our wedding that was planned for 150 people was, hello, I'm back this time with the ring. I feel like this is almost feels like foreign to me because I haven't been on here in so long. But here we are. I just got back from my wedding. My wedding was literally a week ago. By the time y'all see this video, it'll probably be 2 weeks ago. I wanted to make sure that I did this video so that people who are planning a wedding are prepared for the costs that come with having a wedding, okay? So I had about 130 people. I planned for 150 because I had 150 RSVPs for people who said they were gonna come, and of those 150, around 130 probably ended up actually coming. I wanna go ahead and just get straight to the point. Let's get to these numbers. So my wedding, just for reference, was held in Nashville, Tennessee, the country music city of the world. And no, it's not any significance as far as country music goes. I like some country songs, but I'm not like a country music girly or anything like that. The only reason I had it in Nashville was because Nashville is about 45 minutes more or less from my hometown, and because me and Rico are stationed all the way in Texas right now, I thought it would be really dumb for me to have 150 people coming all the way from Kentucky / Tennessee / Indiana to all the way over here to Texas, when me and him could just pack up our little stuff and go over there. I did a very non-traditional thing of having a wedding week instead of having just a wedding day. And I'll get more into the non-traditional things I did at my wedding in another video because it was super fun and I definitely recommend it for everybody. But for right now, we're just talking about money. So let's get into the money. The first thing that me and Rico paid for was the venue. Finding the venue was kind of difficult because I wanted an indoor-outdoor feel. I wanted an outdoor ceremony and an indoor reception, but I wanted all of them to happen at the same place. I didn't want anybody to have to drive anywhere to do anything. So I ended up finding a beautiful venue in Nashville, but it ended up raining on my wedding day anyways, which means good luck. And I hope it does mean good luck in a prosperous marriage because I was kind of upset about it raining on the day, on the day that it was happening. But I just went ahead and was like, you know what, Aniyah, get over it. You're marrying the love of your life. You love him. He's here. As long as he's there, that's all that matters. And I was able to talk myself down. But on that venue, we spent around $7 grand. Well, not around $7 grand. We spent $7 grand on the venue. We put down a $3,500 deposit, and the other $3,500 was due 2 months before the wedding. I just told my friends how much money we spent on this wedding, and they're all like so shocked. But we're gonna get to the total price at the end. So the next thing, venue was $7 grand. Our planner, after I got my venue, I wanted to secure the venue because once you secure the venue, it's like, okay, this is actually freaking happening. Like, this is not a thought anymore. We've actually put money down on this. We have a date. Everything is kind of solidified. Whenever you have like a venue, everything, okay, let me back up a little bit. Everything's not solidified, but it kind of is like a thing that makes it feel more real. Like, okay, I've actually put my first dollar down on this wedding. And when you put a date on it, it's like, okay, this is actually really happening for real. Side note on the venue, start looking for that. If you get engaged in 2023, you need to start looking for your venue immediately if you plan on having like a year-long engagement. People who are planning on having 2, 3, 4 year-long engagements, you don't have to start looking immediately. I mean, you pretty much are gonna have your pick of the litter regardless if you're planning that far out. But if you're getting engaged and you're like, okay, I want to do this now, I want to get married next year, then you need to start looking at venues immediately. Most people want to have their wedding on either a Saturday or a Sunday. Most people, because you know, the weekend, most people are off work. Like, you know, that's just the best time to have it because people aren't gonna have to go to work. So because of that, everybody's looking for the same days. There's only so many Saturdays in a year. So once you think about all the brides in that area, or even some brides who may not even be in that area and just want to have their wedding there, like me, they are all booking way far in advance. So you need to get started looking at this venue like ASAP. Now, the next thing we got after the venue was the planner. I was gonna need a planner, right? Because I'm all the way in Texas. I can't be all the way in Texas and plan a wedding in Nashville. I need somebody that is gonna have boots on the ground and somebody who's gonna have connections in Nashville and is gonna know where to find things that I want. And getting a planner was personally the best decision that I have ever made. Without her, I swear y'all, that wouldn't have happened. It wouldn't have happened because I made the not so smart decision of planning a wedding, working full time, and doing a master's degree all at the same time. Don't ask me why I did that to myself because I don't know why. But I did. She had so many connections in the area. Like, I would literally just tell her something that I wanted or was thinking about doing, and she would already have somebody like in mind to do it. It made me feel like I didn't have to do as much like research like on my own, because this is a ton of research. Like, whenever you are like, okay, I want this, I think I want this look, I want this style, it's easy to like get on Pinterest or get on Instagram and say, oh, that looks nice, I like that, I might want that. But it's a whole nother thing to like find somebody who is going to have that thing. Finding what you like is easy. Finding the people who are going to have what you like is the hard part. And Cheryl was just amazing with that. I recommend a planner for everyone. Personally, I don't recommend any bride to plan their own wedding. Unless you're going to have like a super small wedding, 20 people, close immediate family, you know, something like maybe even a destination wedding where it's like it plans itself basically. The planner, we ended up paying her, I think it was about $4,800, $4,900, $5,000 at the most, I think, and that's for full service planning. So for her to plan it, design it, everything coordinated, she was there the whole wedding day, was like coordinating all the vendors. She was the person in charge of literally everything. So next thing that I'm going to get down to is catering. So catering, we did very non-traditional style catering. We did not do like a catering company. I actually found a website called BFT, so bestfoodtrucks.com, and we got 2 food trucks instead of having traditional catering. And the reason is because traditional catering is freaking expensive. We got one quote from a caterer and it was $8,000. For 150 people, I'm not. Who's paying that? We weren't gonna pay that. Another reason why I was just so, I guess you could say, against traditional catering is just because in my experience, a lot of traditional catering, they bring you in, they do like the taste testing or whatever, and it just tastes so good. I mean, it's fresh, it just came out the oven, it just came off the stove, and then when you get to the day of, the food tastes completely different. Pay less and then also get like better, fresher, hotter food, or pay more and get like, I guess you could say, a more traditional, more fancy experience with like the waiters and stuff, but ultimately end up not liking the food and then also be paying more. I chose food trucks. So I got one food truck. It was barbecue. It was like pulled pork, pulled chicken, like just everything you can think of with barbecue food. And then I got another food truck that was fish. So it was fried catfish. There was shrimp, I think. It was really, really, really good. Everybody had great things to say about both food trucks. One person even made it a point to tell us, they were like, yeah, y'all snapped with these food choices. I like what y'all did here. Like, they were really into it. The catering for the 2 food trucks from bestfoodtrucks.com cost us around $3,800, which was music to our ears compared to the $8 grand, $9 grand that we had been quoted previously. And the food was awesome. So the rentals, so the tables, chairs, the napkins, the tablecloths, everything that you rent, the silverware, everything that you rent furniture wise cost us $5,702, and we also got a dance floor with that as well. So that was a little bit steeper than we were expecting to pay, but it's fine because it started off at $7 grand. And then we ended up having to modify some things. It came down to $5 grand. Our florals cost us $3,752. Most of our florals were baby's breath, which is pretty much one of the cheapest flowers that you can use, but it's still super beautiful, super breathtaking. I know what you're probably thinking. You're probably like, girl, you're saying baby's breath is this inexpensive flower, but it costs you $3,700 to use it. But listen, we ended up spending that much because I had a lot of florals. Like, not like a ton, not like those ones that you see on Instagram where they're literally like flowers everywhere and they're hanging from the ceiling and all that. Not like that, but there was a good amount of florals, especially because I was planning on having my ceremony outside. Like, there were going to be florals going up and down the aisles, and then the whole arc. The arc probably was the most expensive part of it all. Like, if you take the wedding arc out, it probably would not have even been that much. But the wedding arc, because it just takes so many florals to cover it, I think that is the reason why it came out to that amount. But, you know, you could kind of like, if you wanted to bring that price down, use baby's breath for other portions, like in the reception mostly, and then DIY the arc, like use fake florals, fake roses, fake baby's breath, whatever, and then just kind of like make it yourself and stick them on the arc yourself. Then maybe you could get your floral, you know, cost a little bit cheaper. I didn't want to have to do all that, so that's why I was just like, yeah, we're just paying somebody else to do it. Let the florist do all of it. We'll just pay for the convenience, because at this point in my life, I could not DIY anything, because I just had no time to do anything. If I wasn't working, I was doing school. If I wasn't doing school, the little bit of time left over that I had, I was doing wedding stuff and then trying to fit like personal life stuff in there as well. So I did not have time to DIY a bunch of stuff. I kind of wish though that I would have done my wedding at a time where I had more like free time, because if I had the time to DIY stuff and like really get into wedding planning and like have fun with it, then I feel like it just would have been funner and it probably would have been less expensive. But it was just like, no, we're paying for the convenience. We're paying. Because I didn't have time to do any of that stuff, and neither did Rico because he's in the military. So yeah. The next thing that we have is my cake. So I had a 5-layer cake. My 5-layer cake was snickerdoodle flavor and vanilla mixed together. So like, imagine one sheet of cake, like what the sheet cake you get at Walmart, one sheet of cake. And you take it and you split it in the middle. The top would be snickerdoodle and the bottom would be vanilla. And that's how every single layer was. It was split like that. So I really loved the snickerdoodle, but I didn't know if everyone was gonna love the snickerdoodle. Like, I love the snickerdoodle. It's like, well, some people might not like it. So I added vanilla in there because that was what the baker recommended. This 5-layer cake with florals going up, it ended up costing us $938, which you're probably thinking is a lot for some flour and some sugar and some butter. But yeah, that's how much it ended up costing us. We did get a pretty tall cake. I probably didn't need a cake that tall, but I'm a little dramatic, so yeah, there's that. The next thing we have is the DJ. So I wanted a really good DJ, especially one that I felt like was going to be able to match the vibe of my friends and me and Rico's friend groups. We're both Greek. I'm an AKA, Rico is an Alpha. So I needed a DJ who was going to be able to be on those vibes. So the DJ that we booked was DJ Crisis. He charged us $2,400 for 4 hours, I think. 4 or 5 hours, something like that. Either way, it cost us $2,400, and it was somewhere in between 4 and 6 hours. Photography and videography, yeah, this was one that took a big chunk out, and I'm not gonna lie, we had some support from family on this one. Just for reference, we had 2 photographers and 2 videographers, all from the same company. So there's a company in Nashville called John Myers Photography and Videography. He does both, and he sends like a full service team to you, and 2 people go with the bride and 2 people go with the groom. So it's very, very convenient. So I had a photographer and a videographer, and Rico had a photographer and a videographer. And then whenever me and Rico were together, like after the first look, they were all just together taking pictures and videos together. So it was kind of a lot, but they did amazing. They did a great job. Took a lot of pictures, and even Rico was like, oh my gosh, we're taking so many pictures. But they made sure they captured those moments though. And I really appreciate that, because I have not been able to stop looking at, like, even some of the videos and photos that I took on my iPhone. I have not been able to stop looking at them, because you just want to be able to like relive the moment through your photos and videos. And I know a lot of people say, don't focus so much on the photos and the videos, live more in the moment. I feel like there can be a good balance of living in the moment, but also capturing those memories as well, because the last thing I want to do is have this super amazing, big, great wedding with all of my friends and family there, and then get home and not have anything to show for it or anything to like remember it by. So as much as I do understand living in the moment, I do think you should, but I also do think photography and videography is important, especially for us, which is why we went ahead and did the full service team. That full service team ended up costing us $5,800 total for photography and videography. That got us 8 hours of coverage, and I don't remember how many photos they're gonna give us. I think it's like 2,000, 3,000 photos or something. It's a lot. I know it's a big number. Alcohol and bar. So, did we do an open bar? No, we did not. We did not do an open bar. What me and Rico did was we put $1,500 down on the bar for everyone to drink. Once that $1,500 ran out, then it turned into a cash bar. So in total, that ended up costing us about $2,500, because there was like taxes and other fees that went along with that. We did buy our own cups. I bought cups off Amazon. They were like $10. And that ended up knocking the price down some. So we only paid about $2,225 in total for the alcohol package. And as far as I know, it went pretty well. Again, we weren't just moving around at our wedding. It just all went so fast, people pulling you in so many different directions. But as far as I know, the $1,500 for 130 people went pretty good. So we also left off about $150 on the side just for us to use. And so remember to do that. If you do a bar where you're gonna pay for people to drink, don't forget to pay for you to drink too. Don't put yourself, you and your fiance, in the same category as everybody else. $1,500 for everybody else, $150, $200 for you, depending on how much you drink, or $100. Okay, make sure that this stuff that you're paying for, you and him are paying for, you're paying for y'all to have a good time too, not just them. So remember that. Next up on the list, we have my dress. My dress ended up coming from Italy. I did buy it from a bridal shop, and the bridal shop did get it from Italy. My dress was $4,925, and the alterations were $300. My bridesmaids gifts, I had 9 bridesmaids. In total, it cost me about $500. It cost me $500 to buy all the stuff and to ship them off, because that's an added cost for me. I didn't have like the opportunity to just go sit down with them at dinner or like give it to them in person, because I am so far away from all of them. So I had to ship their gifts to them, and all that together cost about $500 with me buying the stuff, you know, and sending it off. Groomsmen's gifts. Rico kept his gifts pretty simple. He got them a flask, which was great for them because, you know, we're drinking, we're turning up, having a good time. And they were really cute. They were like customized, so they had like their names and they had groomsmen. We got those off of Etsy. They looked really nice. And he only paid about $200 for those. I'm pretty sure it might have been less than that. And he got him one too. Next we have invitations. I had vellum invitations, so I had like a picture and then vellum overlay over them. I have a YouTube short that shows exactly how I made my invitation, so if you're interested you can go and watch that. They were really cute. If I could go back and do them again, I probably would make them bigger because they were really, really tiny. But overall the concept I did like and I was very proud of. So that cost us about $400 to make and then ship out. Trees. I had these trees at my wedding. They were about 6 foot tall. I put them on a stand to make them taller. They were probably about 8 feet tall after the stands were added into the equation, and I also put fairy lights in them as well. Those cost me about $200. I would have gotten more of them, but I ordered those trees the week before the wedding. So shout out to Shop Wild Things because I got my trees off of there. Y'all are amazing. They met my deadline. They had those trees to me before the wedding. I was so nervous about that, but I did pay for express shipping. So if I would have had more time to budget it into like my budget, I would have gotten probably like 6 trees because they were so affordable and such a great company. They had just such a big variety of things. If you're looking for something dramatic to add to your wedding, go to Shop Wild Things and look at their trees. Awesome. Those ended up costing about $400 in total with the trees and the stands. And I got 2 trees and 3 stands. The next thing we have are miscellaneous items. So those are those small things that kind of just add up and you don't really realize how much money you're spending until it's over with. Like you didn't realize how many Amazon packages you actually had coming to your door. So in this we have like some decor. So my seating chart came from Etsy. My welcome sign came from Etsy. We have the cups for the bar. I had to pay for my hair to, not for it to be done, but like literally the hair to be put into my head. Our plane tickets to get all the way to Tennessee, our hotel reservation while we were there, the bridesmaids, I paid for a few things with them. Like I did a dance at my wedding for Rico. So the bridesmaids, I paid for their outfits. I paid for their pom-poms for the dance. Just a bunch of random miscellaneous things that you bought, like your outfits, if you have like multiple outfits and not just a wedding dress, if you have like a reception dress. Those miscellaneous things added up to be around $3,000 to $3,500, somewhere in that range. I'm not going to go through looking at all of my Amazon orders and adding that up, but just from the big picture of all that stuff, I can say it probably fell in between like $3,000 and $3,500. So, dun, da, da, da. The grand total of how much me and Rico spent on our wedding that was planned for 150 people was that's how I know it was too much because he started barking. It was $46,357. And this is coming from people who wanted to make our wedding 20 grand and below. Please just plan to spend more money than you were expecting, because the thing is, things pop up so quick with weddings. Well, if you get this, then you need this, and if you need that, then you need that. You pay for the venue, you have to get security attached to it. Like you can't get the venue without having security. There's just like so many random things that come up that make things so much more expensive, especially if you're doing a traditional wedding where it's like all in one place. It's not like destination or anything. We were not expecting to spend that much money, and we did have to ask for support. The moral of the story is weddings get expensive regardless of the circumstance, regardless of the scenario, because unfortunately people slap wedding on the front of something and then automatically jack the price up because they know that you're gonna do pretty much anything to have your big day be perfect. So everything that has wedding attached to it is expensive. everything. So it sucks that it's like this. It really does, because it's almost like highway robbery out here. I mean, something that normally would cost you $500, they can slap wedding at the front of it and then make it cost $3 grand. Like, that's literally what they do. So I always say my biggest advice when it comes to budgeting for weddings is save up at least 75% of the money that you want to spend for your wedding before you start paying for anything. Because you don't want to get yourself into the position of having to do loans and having to figure it out. And then I'm in a bunch of Facebook groups for brides, right? And a lot of them go into it and end up having to cancel their wedding or move it like 2 years down the line because, you know, the funds just weren't there. You know what I'm saying? And I can definitely, like, I can relate to that. Luckily, by the grace of God, we didn't have to move our wedding. Like, we were very, very blessed in that we were able to continue and have everything come to fruition. But that does happen where brides have to cancel their weddings because they realize how expensive it is, or they just have to move it like some years back. And I would say we still kind of operate on the cheaper side. Where there's some things that I could have saved money on, absolutely. Where there's some things that I probably could have been like, okay, I don't really need that, or we could scale that down some, absolutely. But just overall, the stuff is just expensive. Especially if you're doing it in a big city, it's just expensive, period. So I would just say just prepare to spend more so that whenever you go into it, it's not like a big shocker. I mean, there are some people that are, unless you're gonna do like a backyard wedding or like DIY, you're gonna make everything yourself, you have time to do that. If you're not gonna do a wedding like that, then it's gonna be expensive. Now, if you're gonna do, oh, we live in a big house, we're gonna do it in the backyard, have a reception at our house. If you're doing that, then yeah, you can save a lot of money doing that. But if you don't have that as an option, you're gonna be spending a lot of money. Just prepare for that. Instead of just having the costs kind of smack you in the face and then you're having to like adapt as you go. That was my experience